Hey guys, it's Maddie from Melody Great coming to you in quarantine. So I want to make a couple of videos on how to style your hair for your wedding day to look really good in pictures, you know, from all angles. Also, I probably have a lot of prom girls that are still going to be getting ready on their actual prom day, putting their dress on, doing their makeup, their hair, and probably just taking some pictures. So this is part one that I'm going to be doing right now, and this is going to be just a simple updo tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and start off on the updo. So these curls are actually left over from last night on something I was doing, but I find that honestly leftover curls work the best because the hair is the most relaxed. You can get it to do more of what you want it to. So what I'm going to do starting out is I'm going to part off both sides right behind the ear here. So here's this side. All right, and here's this side. So you should be left with this middle piece in the back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two elastics. Now, I prefer the skinnier bands. If you have thicker hair, obviously use a thicker band, but mannequin hair is relatively pretty thin, so I'm going to be using these smaller cloth bands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to part the hair down the middle in the back. Just like this. So you should be left with something kind of like this. You can see that there's a little loop and there's some excess just hanging there. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. So you should have something that kind of looks like this. It kind of looks crazy, but I promise you it'll all come together at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have two of my loops, and you want to make sure that you can actually get your fingers through the loops. And you can do whichever way, you can do it on whichever side, but you're actually going to put one of these through the loop and pull it over it, just kind of like that. And then you're going to hold it and you're going to start pinning. So this is going to be the base of your updo, so you want to make sure that this is pinned pretty securely. And don't worry if you can see the bands on either side, because we are going to be hiding those. Okay, so you should have something that kind of looks like this, and you will see that you have the hairs left over on the sides here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these hairs, and you'll kind of see where they kind of want to go. So you're going to be adding more of these pieces over the top. So really we want to use these to kind of fill the bottom to get a little bit more fullness. So I'm going to take these and just kind of loop them through the bottom here. You can kind of see that it just adds just a little bit of something. I'm just going to put the bobby pin just right under here. When you're doing updos, it's really all about getting balance and symmetry. So really you just want to make sure that it looks like you have about the same amount of hair on both sides. And if you don't, then that's when you want to start really loosening some pieces or pinning other places down that maybe have a little bit too much volume. So now I'm just kind of playing around here now that I have it really secure with bobby pins, and kind of loosening all over and seeing where I'm at. Don't be afraid to really pull and loosen it. If you want to go and take some hairspray and spray it and then start loosening, that'll help a lot too. So once you have that base part in place, you're going to go ahead and start pulling some pieces up through here just a little bit at a time. You can always pull more, so just go really slow, and if you pull too much, then it's really hard to get it tucked back in and fixed. So depending on how much volume you want, just go ahead and keep pulling. And you want there to be a little bit of texture. You don't want a completely smooth surface. So it should look kind of something like this. We're going to be ready to start on our sides. So this is going to be your base. So I'm actually going to start, so you can either do a middle part or you can do a side part, whichever one you prefer. But if you are doing a side part, you want to start with the side that has the least amount of hair. So you should have this pretty big section here that's parted just right behind the ear and back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a diagonal parting, just like this, and I'm going to form this piece and put it back. So how I'm going to do that is you want to make sure the top is smooth out with your fingers and kind of going to be in the right place. And then I'm actually just going to take it and I'm going to twist it. And then you want to hold it there and then you want to spray it. And this part's actually super important. This is how I get a lot of volume into my updos. Once that's a little bit more dry, I'm actually going to take pieces from the twist and I'm going to pull them out and loosen them. So you should have something that kind of looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to just bring it over this back piece. And I'm going to wrap it over here to the side, depending on how much hair you have. And I'm just going to pin it into place. I'm not going to worry about hiding bobby pins on these parts so much until I get to the two very last pieces, because they're going to hide the previous bobby pins, but you are going to want to try extra to hide those. So once you get that kind of how you like it there into place, you are going to do the same thing on the other side. Just take that diagonal piece right above the ear. Doesn't have to be perfectly parted. And again, you are going to twist. You can even, if you wanted to, you could start at the top and do more of a French twist, or you can just twist it just however you were holding it. So I'm going to be parting it in two, then twisting it, and just adding more hair every time I come around here. And there shouldn't be that many pieces you have to actually add, just because it's just a smaller section of hair. So I'm just going to twist like I was. And then spray it, let it dry for just a second, and then I'm going to go in and start pulling out some pieces again. So once you're happy with how that looks, you can see how kind of mine looks. It's just really bubbled out. Make it as loose as you want, but make sure you hold really firm on those ends. Make sure you don't pull out too much in the top. And you are just going to lay it over top of the bun area. So you want this piece to be really seen because this is the piece that has the most detail. And you're just going to bobby pin it down on the side. And again, we're not worrying about hiding that bobby pin just yet because we still have these two pieces to cover. But we will need to hide these bobby pins. So I'm going to go back to doing the side that doesn't have as much hair here in the front. And I'm going to pull down any kind of like baby hairs or any like face framing pieces. And I'm just going to leave those down. And again, I'm going to twist. I'm going to spray, and I'm going to start piecing it out again. So this piece I'm going to tuck right under that last twist I did. I'm going to put it right into the side here. Okay, so now we have our last piece here in the front. So again, I'm going to pull down any kind of little baby hairs. And since I started at the top of my twist right here, I'm going to do the same thing at the top of this one. So I'm just going to grab this top piece, leaving this down. I'm just going to split it in two and then just start twisting it. And then adding another piece into the twist as I go. Okay, I'm just going to pull it apart. Okay, and then this is going to kind of go, you can either put it, over, you can put it under it, wherever you need to add a little bit more. I'm actually going to slip this piece just right under that one, so that way this stays nice and covering here right over the top of the ear, so that way we're not exposing her whole ear, and she still has a little bit of face framing right here. I'm going to pin that into the side. Okay, so once you get all of your pieces pinned up, you're going to see maybe that you have a little bit of like sagging areas or areas that are not very tight. And I'm just going to go in and kind of just take my finger. I'm just going to put a bobby pin in. I'm just going to hide it right inside there and kind of twist it into there. Okay, so that really fixed that area that was just pulling down just a little too much. And then this is what my sides look like. You might have to do some adjusting up here, so that way you don't want to be able to see any kind of parts in the hair, anything. So I'm going to adjust those. I'm just going to spray it all into place right through here. Make sure everything is at equal height all the way around. You don't want to see the back that's like super bumped up, or you don't want to see these sides that are too bumped out. See about right here. I'm just going to kind of pull some of that back and spray and really just kind of pull that back, because we don't want to see too much of that sticking out and take away from the style. So once you got everything in place how you like it, we are going to style the front pieces. So what I do is I take a curling iron and I put it on super low heat because we don't want that much of a curl. So this I'm just going to put on like 300. Pull these away from the face. So I'm going to start just right here in the middle and curl back. And then when I release it, I'm going to pull down so that way it's nice and soft. And we don't take away any of the length, but it just lays really soft. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Alright, now all you have to do is add your earrings or add your veil. And then this is what it should look like when you're finished.